Hi, this is me, Susan, and we're going on our travel video again. We're traveling in our imagination, and this time we are going to, I don't know, because I'm going to be reading the story. I didn't pre-read it, and so we're going to find out where we're going together. But this one is called Crazy Man. And here again is the beginning of the picture. This is a sketch, and this is what it looked like on Sketchpad. And did you zoom in on this so everybody can see the loveliness of the sketch? Okay, and you can even see how, like that's part of the pad, copied part of the pad. So I'm going to set this over here, and now I'm going to turn the painting around. Again, here is the original story. On the top, right here, it is signed and dated and authenticated and fingerprinted, and there you go. Because this just shows that it's the original. Now, here's the story again in the frame, so you can hang them side by side and enjoy them both. And I'm going to turn this around so you can see Crazy Man. And the float run-through border is, I don't know, might be on the other side. I don't know. So, we're going to find out. And this one is it fuchsia or is it magenta? I don't know. And there we go. I want to make sure. Look how it matches. See, it matches my walls. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's just the magenta. It's all the way around. And this, it will run through down here, down on the bottom. So if you want to see the flow through, you're going to have to bend over, but it's right there. So if it's on your sofa, you can look up and you go, oh, there's the road. So anyway, now, this is Crazy Man. So I'm going to put in my readers, and I want you to take a look at the loveliness and look at the detail here again, cracks, and if you were to run your finger over this, you could feel that these are like bricks. They have a texture, and all of his paintings, he clear coats them so you could touch them or wipe them off or wash them, and you wouldn't have to worry about damaging the painting. So again, E. Pruitt, Mexican Art, YOLOsite.com. Now, here we go. Crazy Man. Now, South America. South America is where this tale begins, but it's not where it ends. A slave trader ship under the command of Captain Morgan Silverblade begins his shopping spree in the jungles of South America to take the spoils of his conquest to Londinium, to Ireland, and to other countries that would pay the most for the acquired cargoes. The gathering party captured locals to sell as slaves and to tote the loot. Sahagun, a young Aztec boy, was the first captured, being only 14 years old, while killing countless others over the next 3 months, gathering like ants and taking the spoils to the mighty sailing ship. Captain Morgan Silverblade took no mercy. When they set sail, Captain Morgan Silverblade gave Sahagun to the Irish priest that was a passenger on the ship as a helper. This priest was on his way to Ireland to build up a congregation and spread the gospel. It was on this journey that the priest taught Sahagun the Bible and to speak to men, comforting them during their extreme conditions at sea and their long, arduous journey. First stop, Londinium, is where they sold much. Ireland was next on Morgan Silverblade's list to sell the remaining bounty he had aboard. The captain thought Sahagun would be good for target practice to shape the crew's skill in making them ready for Africa. The captain said, Catch that little runt and we will use him for target practice." The crew started chasing him around the ship and up to the bow, down into the hold Sahagun dove. He was small but twice as fast as the crew. Pistols started firing at him, missing by fractions. One almost hit the captain, and this angered him, causing him to yell out, "Shoot that runt, not me!" This was Sahagun's chance to escape. To the mainmast up he went. To the top of the crow's nest, Sahagun had a plan, and he would not be cornered. While the crew continued to shoot, Sahagun dove off the mast, narrowly missing the side of the ship. He hoped he would have trouble shooting him in the deep, dark waters. Deeper he dove to the center of the ship, then swimming aft to the rear, and his lungs were about to burst. He popped up about 100 feet behind the ship with about half a mile to swim to shore. Cold, wet, and exhausted, he passed out on the shore, and a farmer's daughter named Sarah was walking back to her home from doing some fishing and found him. Sarah woke him and helped him back to her small home to nurse him back to his full strength. Her father was a farmer and needed an extra farmhand, so he welcomed the young man into their home and into their family. As time passed, Sarah and Sahagun became friends, and yes, they fell in love, and they married and had a young family. Now Sahagun's hands were blessed. Their family and farm prospered. The community was fond of Sahagun, and perhaps because he knew his character was genuine. Sahagun became older and felt the longing for his homeland. He desired to go back to see his family and teach them all the things he had learned, from what the priest taught him to what his new family had taught him. Sadly, Sahagun could not go back to Mexico because he was too old for the journey. So he asked his son Jonathan to take on this task. Now Jonathan agreed and boarded a ship headed to San Jose del Cabo and to the Sea of Cortez. Now Jonathan was not taught all of his dad's native tongue while he was growing up. He was only taught Irish. And as he entered into the village, he spotted a young woman standing in a red arched doorway. He tried to speak with her, but they couldn't understand each other, and then Jonathan headed to the direction of the purple saw. Each person he encountered could not understand him. He looked like them, but he couldn't speak like them. And they thought he was a crazy man. He found a rundown 2-room building and decided to make this building into something great. The young woman that he met was named Isabella. She was prominent in the village and all considered her words of great consequence. One night, Isabella had a dream of this strange new man, and her dream had a voice that told her to tell this crazy man to paint his building green and put in a bell. She asked this voice, "How can I tell him that? I can't understand his words." The voice then said, "Do not fear, everything will work out for my purpose." Isabella approached Jonathan and began to speak. She was dazed with the words that were coming from her mouth. It was the same language that Jonathan spoke. They could understand each other. She told him how the people of the village thought he was crazy and how they accused him of trying to steal from them. He explained that he was simply asking them if they needed help with their gathering of supplies. They had a long conversation, and he was then convinced to paint his building green and hang a bell in it. So while they were talking, the villagers were holding a meeting. They had planned to run him out of town. It was their plan to run this crazy man off into the purple saw. So he would get lost in those mountains and either be eaten by wild animals or die of starvation. And no one ever survived the purple saw. They headed off to the building where Jonathan was, screaming, yelling, and fists flying, and were what came at Jonathan and Isabella. Isabella interceded to save him. She spoke with the people and then with Jonathan. She became their interpreter. It was a miracle. She explained how Jonathan could help them with his farming skills he learned growing up in Ireland. And then Jonathan asked Isabella to let them know that he would be bringing them a new hope and a new future. And this would all be taught in his green building with a bell. They would know it was time to be taught their new future, and know every time the bell would ring, it would echo in the purple saw. This is my story, fact or fiction. It's your choice. And I just want to let you know that what does it have? Great restaurants. And oh, I want to talk to you about the purple saw, because I talked about the purple saw. This is the purple saw. It looks like they saw. It's the mountains, the purple mountains are the saw. And here is the green building with the bell. And what does that look like? So he was telling them about Jesus and God and salvation. So I want to go ahead and again I'm going to show you this drawing, and you can see how the drawing evolved into the painting. And see, there you go. That's like the before and the after. And I don't know, he's trying to tell me something about great restaurants, but I don't know what great restaurants there are right there, but I know Mexican food is really great. That's all I know. I like Mexican food. Matter of fact, Early made green chili, and we're going to have green chili burls for lunch, or early dinner, late lunch, or like pretty quick here. So, anyway, this is me, Susan, and thanks for hanging in there and listening to Crazy Man's story. And please subscribe. Thanks for watching.